Hey, sitting in the corner here on the bench, getting ready to do a little bit of Wayside here. Thought it'd be kind of fun, at least today, and we'll definitely do more of these as we go along, maybe for some different places in my house. I guess you're going to get to see my house a little bit as we go along with this, but maybe to finish off your day today and get a little Wayside. So we are on chapter 19. And we know, like we said the other day, chapter 19 is always something interesting. So let's see where we are today. Chapter 19, Time Out. Miss Zarvis taught the class on the 19th story. There is no 19th story, and there is no Miss Zarvis. You already know all that. But how do you explain the cow in her classroom? Miss Zarvis drew a triangle on the blackboard. A triangle has 3 sides, she said, then pointed to each side. 1, 2, 3. She drew a square. A square has 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. She walked around the cow to the other side of the board. She drew a pentagon, a hexagon, and a perfect heptagon. A heptagon has 7 sides, she said. Right? Remember when Dr. Stevens had to correct me when she was in here that day? Yeah, happens. It's a heptagon, not a septagon like I tried telling you. Anyway, Ms. Zarvis was very good at drawing shapes. When most people try to draw heptagons, there's always one side that sticks out funny. But Ms. Zarvis's heptagon was perfect. Every side was the same length and every angle the same degree. It was a great talent, but nobody appreciated her. Nobody appreciated anything she did. It was like they didn't know she was there. She counted the sides of on the heptagon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Moo! Said the cow. Ms. Zarvis dropped her chalk. She glared at the cow. I hate this, she shouted. It was a brown cow with a white head. It's all right, Miss Zarvis, said Virginia, her best student. I'll get the chalk for you. No, said Miss Zarvis. Leave it where it is. The cow made me drop the chalk. The cow should pick it up. Her students gaped at her. I will not continue, said Miss Zarvis, until that cow picks up the piece of chalk and draws an octagon on the board. She folded her arms across her chest, stared at the cow, and waited. Ray raised his hand. Remember who Ray is? Yeah, BB's imaginary brother. Yes, Ray, said Miss Zarvis, arms still folded across her chest. Cows can't pick up chalk, said Ray. Miss Zarvis sighed. I know, she said, and I can't teach with a cow in my classroom. No one had ever seen Miss Zarvis so upset. She usually had a pleasant disposition. It's okay, Miss Zarvis, said Virginia. I don't mind the cow. You get used to it after a while, said Ray. What cow? Asked Nick. Oh, that one. I forgot it was there. Miss Zarvis smiled. She knew her students were trying to make her feel better. Other classrooms have goldfish or hamsters, said Virginia. It's really no different. No, said Miss Zarvis. I won't have it. All my life I've tried to be accommodating. I've never been one to complain. And what has it gotten me? A cow. She shook her head. When I was a little girl, my friends never did what I wanted to do, she said. I always had to do whatever they wanted to do. And my teacher never called on me in class. She always called on the kids who just shouted out without raising their hands. Even though she said she wouldn't. She'd say, I won't call on you if you don't raise your hand, but then she always did anyway. But I was a good girl. I never shouted out. And she always did things alphabetically, so I was always last, if there was time for me at all. My parents were too busy for me. They were always dressing up and going out to fancy parties. I had to tuck myself in at night and wish myself sweet dreams. She took a tissue out of her sleeve and wiped a tear from her eye. Still, I always tried to keep a smile on my face. Well, not anymore. The days of walk all over Miss Zarvis are finished. She threw open her classroom door. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. What are you going to do? Asked Virginia. I'm going out there, said Miss Zarvis, and I'm not coming back until I get some grease. She stepped outside. She decided she'd go right to the top. So she headed down the stairs to the principal's office. Joy and Mauricia were coming up the stairs. Todd is uglier than stupid, said Mauricia. You're crazy, said Joy. He's stupider than ugly. Ooh, teased Mauricia. I'm going to tell Todd you think he's cute. Miss Zarvis stepped in front of them. What are you children doing out of class? She asked. I didn't say he was cute, said Joy. He's just not as ugly as he is stupid. That means you think he's handsome, said Mauricia. Are you going to marry him? I asked you a question, said Miss Zarvis. Ugh, gross, said Joy. I'm a teacher, said Miss Zarvis. That means you are supposed to listen to me. Joy and Mauricia walked right past her. Miss Zarvis sighed, then continued down to Mr. Kidswatter's office. She took a deep breath to steady her nerves. She was about to knock, but then changed her mind and just marched right in. Hey, Kidswatter, I want to talk to you. The principal was making a rubber band ball. Do you hear me? Asked Miss Zarvis. He opened his desk drawer and looked for some more rubber bands. If you don't answer me right now, said Miss Zarvis, I'm walking out the door and never coming back. Mr. K pressed the buzzer on his phone. Miss Knight, you need to order more rubber bands. That's it, said Miss Zarvis. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I quit. She walked out of the school and took a deep breath of fresh air. Please don't go, Miss Zarvis, said a voice behind her. Startled, she turned around. We need you, said a bald-headed man. He was standing between two other men. Both had black mustaches, and one carried a black attaché case. The bald man didn't have a mustache. Can you see me? She asked. Yes, of course, said the bald man, and we appreciate all your hard work. You do? All three nodded very sincerely. Miss Zarvis was touched. I've been teaching here for 30 years, she said, and nobody has ever said that before. Well, it's not easy being a teacher, said the bald man. I don't get any respect, said Miss Zarvis. People treat me like I'm a nobody. It's not easy being a teacher, said the man with the attaché case. You have to work long hours for very little money. I've never gotten paid, said Miss Zarvis, and this is the first time in 30 years I've ever left the building. It's not easy being a teacher, agreed the other man with a mustache. Even the book I'm reading to my class, said Miss Zarvis, the author makes fun of teachers. It's a tragedy, said the bald man. Then why do it? Asked Miss Zarvis. Why teach anymore? I could quit and nobody would care. The children need you, all three men said together. Miss Zarvis sighed. I like to teach, she said. I really do. I love the children. It's just... She stopped and wiped her eyes. The man with the attaché case opened it. He took out a handkerchief and handed it to Miss Zarvis. Thank you, she said, blew her nose, then gave it back to him. He placed it back in his attaché case. Can you at least get the cow out of my classroom, she asked. The bald man smiled. I'll see what I can do, he said. Miss Zarvis smiled as she slowly shook her head. Then she turned and walked back into the building. All right, our next chapter is chapter 20, and it's called Elevators. We'll get to that sometime soon. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day.